Welcome everybody to Gotham City Central. As always, I'm Subject. We've got Robert, we've got Torgo, and for the first time for a review, we've got the Day Ghost. How's it going,
Oh
everybody?
yeah, I guess that's true.
Anyway, we're here to talk about the Penguin premiere. Obviously, this is the spinoff of the Batman, which I unfortunately did not have a chance to rewatch before watching this. Did any of you guys?
I did. It flowed
I
pretty
almost
well.
watched it today.
Okay, so we're
Did
kind
you
of
say
split
it
up.
flooded well?
Oh yeah, there you go.
Uh,
Okay,
It
so
flowed like the waters in Gotham.
So for the two of you that did get to watch this before, let's start there. Does this kind of pick up exactly where the Batman left off?
Yes, I mean the first scene is a recap of the Batman, of all the flooding, of Carmine Falcone's death. So even if like you didn't get a chance to rewatch it, it reminds you of that stuff. So it puts you in that headspace for the rest of the episode.
yeah, exactly. I didn't rewatch. I was gonna today actually, but then didn't have time. But I've seen that movie like 20 times. So it's just fresh.
Yeah.
We got to get you on for the commentary, Austin. So this is a week after the Batman. Uh, we start with that really interesting, like, because it's the flat, like the catch up, but also like cuts to that dramatic pose of Penguin just like standing in front of a window.
Yeah, just a reuse shot from that movie. Yeah,
I couldn't tell if it's the exact same shot or if they just reshot it. I haven't looked at those back to
okay.
back.
It looked the same.
I thought
to
it
me.
was. I thought it was because I was like, there's like a slight drop.
Because I mean, the
In
aspect
quality,
ratio
I
is
thought.
different.
Yeah. No,
They
I'm pretty sure it's
reformatted
that reused. Yeah.
for the show. Yeah.
So obviously we were all excited for this. Did you guys have any expectations going into this? Did this pilot meet those expectations? Like, how are we feeling just after watching the first episode? We'll start with Austin since this is his first review on the channel.
Oh God. Well, Penguin is not my favorite Batman character by any stretch of the imagination, but I liked him in that movie, and I really liked that movie, so I was like, I'm game for a Penguin show now. But despite that, like I didn't really have giant expectations beyond it'll be good. So I would say like it probably went over what I was expecting, because it's really good.
Okay. I would say Penguin's one of my favorites, but I would say he's the character that I like the most that I feel like we've never utilized that potential, especially in film. I don't want to open this up to a whole debate, but like we've never had a comic booky Penguin on screen. You know, the gangster who runs like the underworld, and obviously this isn't that, but he's getting there. Like this is the whole show is to get him there in time for the Batman 2. Robert, do you think that watching the Batman before this kind of enhanced your experience with this episode, or like it would have been the same either way?
I think it does. I'd almost go as far as to call it necessary, but I don't know. I haven't heard that opinion yet from anyone who has seen this without seeing the Batman. I don't know how well this works as a standalone piece. I think it works well enough. I think you get all the information you need. It's that weird thing where people always want to say like, well, should you have to watch this movie or this thing or be invested in this character? And sometimes I find that kind of silly. Like I don't know, like if you're making a Penguin show, I would think Penguin fans or fans of that movie are going to watch it. So I don't think it's a big deal regardless. But for me, it definitely exceeded my expectations. And I've been hyped for this thing. I've been very excited about it since it was announced. I'm also not like a massive fan of the Penguin, but I thought he was great in the movie. I loved their take. He was one of the big standouts. So after that movie, they said, "Oh, we're doing a spinoff." It's like, yes, yes. Because how often do we see spinoffs or things announced like before the main movie even comes out, and we're all like, "Okay, am I even excited for this?" But it says something when you have that much of a breakout character, where it's like, no, this earns a spinoff because Colin Farrell is that good in this role. And so far, it's everything I wanted it to be. It's like the show Gotham, but better. It's everything I wanted that show to be so far. That's the best thing I can say about it.
Yes, and I didn't mean like having seen the Batman in general. I just mean you rewatched it before this. I would
Yes,
say you should watch the Batman if you haven't seen it before this. And in something like this, it's silly to complain that you need to see the first one to see the next, like the spin-off. Like, that's just silly to me, but whatever.
Well,
So
I just want to know if there's any person on the planet that would watch this that has not seen the Batman.
exactly.
So it's like, that movie, but a Penguin show.
Someone's like,
Yeah.
oh,
there's
yeah, I
somebody out
remember
there. There's
Chris
somebody out
Meredith.
there. Let us know in the
Oh
comments
yeah,
below.
I remember. I
mean-
remember Burgess Meredith.
This is
Yeah,
Colin
you know,
Farrell talking.
that movie also works as kind of an interesting companion to this too, in that because the movie's so long, it's 3 hours. It's all that movie's also structured like a miniseries. Like you could easily chop that into like 3 or 4 episodes, and it would flow pretty naturally as a miniseries. But even though I still think it works as a movie, so far at least, like the pacing doesn't feel off. It feels like yep, it's part of that world, but it just feels like a very natural continuation.
It even has a different villain for each episode with that movie structured.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Before we get too much further into that, Noah, did you have any expectations going into this? Did this meet your expectations? And do you think rewatching the Batman helped your enjoyment of this?
Yeah, well, like I was saying earlier, it did very much help my enjoyment of this just because I was in that mood. I was ready to see this world again. And I really liked seeing Gotham further be fleshed out in this first episode. My expectations is kind of similar to what Austin was saying. I was expecting this to be good, but I think it maybe exceeded my expectations. I was not expecting it to be as good as it is. It's not like amazing or anything. We're just talking about one episode so far, but I was really impressed with what I saw. And it's another thing I thought of was it's more R-rated than I was expecting. I knew going in that it would be a TVMA show, but within the first 10 minutes they drop like 8 F-bombs. And then there's like more violence here. It's not super strong on violence, but you do get some more like gore later. There's some brief nudity too. It's like it's an HBO show basically.
It makes me wonder too if they'll maybe push a little farther with just the overall universe, like if we might see that for the Batman, to more differentiate it from what Gunn's doing.
Yeah, I assume the movies are gonna stay PG-13, but if they do any other spin-off shows, like there's rumors about a Harvey Dent show. I wonder if that's also probably gonna be MA.
I'm not getting my hopes up because we've already had 2 shows announced for this universe that have both been canceled. So I'm just happy we have this.
No, I'm happy that we have this. That's the other thing is that there was going to be an Arkham show that was later repurposed for the DCU, and then now it's not happening at all. Another big takeaway I had from this episode is that I really wish we did have more spin-offs coming, and I really want, because there's initial announcement of a GCPD spin-off. I would love to see a show about this Gordon kind of just like navigating through this universe. You know, like kind of like as a counterpart to this show, which is more like the seedy crime underbelly of Gotham. You could have the GCPD show just be about the cops and like the inner corruption of that, and it's like what Robert said earlier about Gotham, just like kind of do that vibe of that show, but you know, actually good this time.
No,
Finally
cool.
adapt Gotham Central, you bastards.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
I would love that.
So Austin,
absolutely.
I think oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Because I think you and I are on the same page. Was like we're not big crime drama fans. Like that's not a genre that we seek out. Did you kind of have that in this where like that was the stuff that wasn't interesting to you, or did this manage to make you interested in that?
No, and I would say like when crime drama stuff's really good, like I dig it. It's just not like a genre I'm like I'm gonna go out and watch a bunch of crime drama stuff. So it's more like in that sense, like
Mhm.
like there's plenty of crime movies that I've seen that are really great. It's just not something that I'm like super excited for, but when it's good, it's good.
Mhm. Well, what were you gonna
Yeah,
say?
exactly. I forgot.
Must not have been very important.
I no, it probably wasn't. It's probably something stupid.
So I like that this entire episode is just Oz continually fucking up. Like
Yeah.
at the
The
very
inciting
end, he
incident
finds
of the show.
like a hook,
Yeah.
something that could propel him up. But for like 90%
Yeah.
of the show, it's just him fucking things up because he's impulsive and impatient.
It's like watching a master manipulator plot, but like you're following the person making it, but like they keep having to come up with things on the fly.
He's just getting like skirting by, by the seat of his pants, and he makes it out alive, with the skin of his teeth by the end of this episode, and I hope that they kind of continue that for the rest of the series.
Hmm.
No, I
Yeah, it
because
makes me interested. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, you go ahead this time so you don't forget.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, it makes me interested to see if Sophia will straight up be the antagonist the whole show, or if she and Penguin will maybe work together now for at least a little bit. I assume she's like the end game antagonist at the end of the day,
Yeah.
but I do wonder if like we'll see them at odds the entire show.
Mhm.
I don't know if she makes it out of the season alive.
I don't think she will, and that makes me very sad because I think
She's
she's the
so
best
good.
part. I want to see her
She's-
fight Batman.
She is horrifying. That actress is really good, and her eyes are just like scary. Like they're so
Her
piercing to my soul.
introduction is wonderful. The way we just have her like just slowly walk into the room in the background while Oz is giving
Blurred
a
out.
monologue. I was just she's all blurry. I'm just waiting for Oz to say she's standing right behind me, isn't she?
I had the exact same thought. I was like, are they gonna do it?
So I would say my favorite thing about the show is the titular character. This is just such a good take on Penguin. Colin Farrell is so good. The stuff that I found myself latching onto most, funnily enough, was Oz and that like kid that he kind of adopts or kidnaps, depending on your definition.
This is Robin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really thought that was gonna be Jason Todd for a second because I was like, wait a minute, this
That's
is
what
just
I thought
Jason
too.
Todd's origin. Where
No,
are
I
we
love that
going?
he just starts
Okay,
shooting at them and puts a hole in his
Well,
car.
Well, that was the one thing I wasn't sure about at the beginning. Was I was like, I don't know if I buy that this guy lets this kid go, and then I feel like the show ultimately rewards me for thinking that because it ends up being a big part of his plan that we don't know yet.
Mm-hmm.
And
So I was like, oh, okay. The show clearly wanted me to think that.
well, I guess we should just rewind to the start of this thing. What kicks off this whole story, which I was not expecting, but the big inciting incident of this show is Oz having a run-in with Falcone's son,
Alberto.
and impulsively killing him when he laughs at him. And when we cut to them sitting down to have drinks, I immediately went back to that very first trailer. I was like, oh no, I recognize the setup. This is gonna end with us shooting him, and I didn't think that's how we were starting the story. So it was still shocking, but I also knew what was coming because I remembered that trailer where you couldn't tell it's Alberto, but like it's the same shot of him in the chair pulling out the gun, shooting. So like I still knew where it was going. I was like, oh, we're starting this killing off Alberto. I did not expect that, and then the rest of the episode is dealing with the consequences of that choice. It's great.
Yeah, no,
and,
that's really cool.
I had forgotten about that initial trailer until after Oz's speech about Rex Calabrese, because one of the other trailers used that whole thing. So I was just mainly focused on that. But then once Alberto started laughing at him, I was like, oh wait, I think I know how this scene ends. but it's just a great inciting incident for the show.
Well, I love too that it's like you're like very classic drama where if he didn't do that, he would have had such an easier time. But because he did that, now Sophia's in charge of the gang, and she's nuts.
Yeah.
Crazy.
No, since she's rehabilitated, she's out of Arkham.
I'm rehabilitated, you know.
That's so great.
That's a rehabilitated princess.
She always has the wide eyes, dude. I just want to see. I want to see her interact with Batman because they both have crazy eye acting.
Yeah, and like that decision has so many ripples throughout the rest of the episode. It's not just obviously like he's the heir to the throne. He's Falcone's son, but then later you found out that the plan that he was talking about with the drops was also Sophia's plan, and so she's like, "Oh, how do you know about that?" And he has to think of an excuse for that, and yeah, like I was saying earlier, he's flying by the seat of his pants, but he's just making it away or making it through. Like,
Just small correction there. It wasn't Sophia's plan. It was her brother's. That's how she catches on.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
they were
it
both
was-
going together.
they're
That's what he
working
was
on it
saying.
together.
Oh, sorry. I forgot about that. My bad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
because
how she knows. Yeah.
well, and Oz doesn't even know that Sophia's out of Arkham yet, so like that he's completely blindsided by that.
Mhm.
So as far as he knows, like it's just Alberto's plan.
Yeah, exactly. With all the talk of there being new drugs that they're working on, I really want a scarecrow to come out of this, but I'm like, I'm getting my hopes up to be let down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. I don't know how much comic booky stuff they're gonna do anymore, based on this first episode and then like quotes from
My
certain
uh,
people behind the scenes. Not to
yeah,
get too much into that, but
yeah. There's a lot of talk
Yeah.
about this universe staying, grounded and realistic, whatever that means. Based on Matt Reeves' comments, I don't think sci-fi stuff is off the table. I mean, there's a lot of sci-fi stuff in the first movie, like those contacts that record stuff. Like they're
Well, I
like,
mean,
and we did Fear
Scarecrow's
Talks
not
in
like-
Batman Begins, so
yeah, like I don't know, I don't think Scarecrow's that crazy. I was talking to John about this earlier. I have a feeling that we could be going somewhere with the name thing with Penguin. I feel like that's something he could take on once he gets power. Is like a thing of prestige. Not that I'm saying that it's like, oh, well, you have to do that, but like I could see that being a thing that they go to.
yeah, I don't love the name change. That's one of my gripes with the episode is I don't like the Oz Cobb name, but it also comes up one time in the episode, so it's not that distracting. But I also been fine with sticking with Cobblepot. But you might be right; like that could be a payoff. It could be something they're setting up. So we'll see.
Because he's straight up Oswald. That's something that they were like, he's just Oz now. But like, he is called Oswald
his
several
name
times
is
throughout.
still Oswald. It's just Oz
Yeah.
is short for Oswald.
Yeah, he likes Oz because it sounds cooler. And then with the grounded stuff, the way I'm going to currently interpret Matt Reeves' comments, though, because remember he was being asked about Gentleman Ghost specifically. Like, will Gentleman Ghost be the main villain of the Batman 2? Like, no, I
Why
don't
would you
think
ask
so.
that?
But I'm guessing like supernatural stuff is off the table. I don't think we're gonna get ghosts or Lazarus pits and stuff. But I don't think that means sci-fi stuff is off the
Yeah.
table.
We ain't getting
Like
ghosts
so-
and goblins.
Yeah, we're not getting ghosts and goblins.
Mm,
We'll see. But for what this show is, as a crime drama, however realistic or grounded it needs to be, it really works. It's working in the lane it's operating in.
No, I think for this show, it really does work, and that's what I was kind of thinking of earlier with Scarecrow. I'd like to see Scarecrow pop up somewhere in this universe, but I don't know if he really fits in with the vibe of this show.
Because I also feel like Scarecrow is very easy to reinvent as just like a drug manufacturer, like drug dealer type villain.
You could.
So
They
like,
could be doing something with that, but I'm not sure.
like I said, it's probably not. But I'm a giant Scarecrow fan, and I need a good Scarecrow on film. goddammit.
I mean, they
One day.
could set him up here, and he could be the main villain of the Batman 2. That's the big
Exactly. That's what I'm
Would be
saying.
I would be
I
so
would love
happy
that.
if that's where we went with this.
Be like, they'll be like, oh, John Crow, that's your name.
If everyone's name in this universe is shortened to something
And then-
stupid, I'm gonna cry
No,
foul.
John, let me finish. John, let me finish. They'll be like, John Crow, that's nice to meet you. And then you'll be like, here's my business card, and it'll say John Scarecrow. And they'll be like, that's a better name.
Because I was thinking, how do you shorten Crane? That's already a short last name.
Yeah, I had that issue. I had that while I was thinking about it. I was like, oh crap, now I have to follow through. What is the short
My name
version
is
of Crane?
Jonathan C.
Jonathan Cray.
The other thing with Cobb, and then we can move on to a more interesting talking point. But the
Yeah, I
thing
completely derailed us. I'm sorry.
yeah, no, it's okay. The other thing I thought about with the Cobb name change is Cobblepot sounds like a more like prestige, like higher up, kind of like British.
Very posh.
Yeah, very posh. Whereas this guy, this penguin is Italian, and Cobblepot is not a very Italian name, so I'm fine with it just being Cobb for this
They should
show.
have named him Oswald Kabaguchi.
They could have.
Oswald Soprano.
Oswald the Godfather.
Oswald, that's Mr. Osfather. Here he is.
They call me Osfa.
Yeah, but did you guys like the Victor character? We talked about him a little bit before, but we can get more into him.
Yeah, I also like that they're both disabled, so there's like some sort of connection that makes it more believable that Penguin would be into this dude.
Take him under his wing.
Mhm.
Because
Pun intended.
because one way you could read like that night out they had together when they get rid of the body and they're running errands together is when they're at the docks and are finally getting rid of the body. Like I think Oz is still at least considering killing him. Like I think that is the plan. And then he finally caves and he's like, all right, but you better do what I say.
When he first says turn around and look at the sunset, that I believe he is still planning to kill him at that point. It's just later he changes his mind.
And I could change my mind on another viewing. I've only seen this once.
I'd have to rewatch it. Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
I was wondering if the seeds. I was wondering if the seeds for the ending were already being planted in that scene. That was part of why. That was a little bit with what I was saying, because like he's got him in the car and like this kind of like they leave him there and like it's kind of just set up for them to do something with it. So that's what I meant when I was like, I feel like I'm being asked to question that because then it ends up paying off at the ending, where it's like he had this kid do this, and I feel like they were maybe talking about this is an idea when it cuts in that scene.
Yeah, for sure. This pilot gets a lot done. It definitely has a complete story to it, which I appreciate. Were any of you guys put off by the runtime? Because this is a really long pilot, but to its credit, I think it does get a lot done.
Yeah, no, I was sucked into it. Like I had no problem with how long it was.
It's an actual episode of TV.
Yeah.
Weird experience where it's like it needed to be as long as it did, but there were moments where I felt it's how long it was, but it didn't bother me. I don't know, it's weird. Like I noticed it was long, but I never hated watching it.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Sure.
So, do you guys think is there any chance that this ends with Mayor Penguin?
There's no way.
I think we gotta go like baby steps to get to Mayor Penguin. He's got to become head of the crime world of Gotham before he can run for mayor.
The closest is he'll take over the city, be like, I bought the mayor. I am the mayor, like Carmine was.
I am the mayor.
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be like that Lex Luthor scene in Justice League Unlimited where it's like, wait, you think I want to be president? Do you have any idea how much power I'd have to give up to be president? It's such a good scene that they could do something like that. But if we do the Mayor Penguin thing, I think that's season 2. Because there's been a lot of talk lately about doing a season 2, which kind of threw me off because I went into this expecting this just to be a completely standalone miniseries. I never thought of doing more. but it's possible this could get a second season between the Batman 2 and the Batman 3, if Colin Farrell's willing to do it. So I think if we get a second season, I think that's where we do Mayor Penguin stuff. I think
That
that
would
could
be
be that.
fascinating.
I would love
Season two will be where we go like completely batshit. That's where he steals the the Batmobile,
Yes.
runs
Yeah,
for
yeah.
mayor.
I was thinking about stealing the Batmobile this whole episode because, Victor's his driver, and I just really wanted an episode where Victor drives the Batmobile with Oz.
I do love how they make a big deal about Oz's car in that purple color.
Yeah.
It's such a penguin looking car. I love.
It's plum. It's not
Yeah, it's
purple.
exactly. Yeah. Well, it's same with Victor. He wears like all blue because, of course, they're setting up Mr. Freeze.
Oh, Penguin. My girlfriend Nora, she's really sick. I need your help.
That means it's okay for me to steal your car. It was so weird that he kept throwing out ice puns. Like there was that part where they're eating sandwiches, and he's like, "You're
Nice to
eating
meet
cold
you."
meat."
No, it's when they have the slushies at the end. He's like, "This is cool as ice."
Willing to sacrifice.
But that would be fascinating if we do get a season 2 where you have to watch a completely another movie to watch season 2 of his television show.
I mean, that's kind of what the MCU's been doing.
I mean, it would also be cool to have it's like raindrops between the movies like that, where it's like now we touch back in with Penguin
No,
and
I
maybe
would actually
Harvey and
really
maybe
like to.
Clayface.
I would really like to do that, to do something like that, because you could get more of those villains that either haven't been adapted or haven't been adapted well.
Well, and something like Mayor Penguin is something you could do in the Batman 2 or the Batman 3, but obviously a show would give you a lot more time to flesh that out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love them to do Mayor Penguin, by the way. I just don't think I see it in this season. I think we gotta build to that.
Yeah, there's no way it happens this season.
I was curious what everyone's thoughts on that was.
Yeah, sure.
I'm indifferent. Like,
Although it's set up, Alberto's like no one would want to make floats of you and like parade it down the city.
yeah,
We're setting up. He's gonna become there.
I really hope that we don't write off Maroni, because Clancy Brown is so good.
Oh, I think he's gonna stick around. Yeah.
I think he could die by the end, but he'll be there the whole season. Absolutely.
I don't know. He could be in one more episode. He could be in 5. I don't know how much more of him we're gonna get, but I hope it's a lot. Because when he was cast, that's one of the things where I'm like, I'm already sold on the show because Colin Farrell's great and he's a standout in that movie. But when they said Clancy Brown was playing Maroni, like that just got my hype level through the roof. I was like, yes, that's amazing casting. And that's part of what made the show exciting was, oh, we're actually doing crime drama stuff from the comics. We're getting more of the Falcones. We're bringing in Maroni. Obviously, that was set up in the first movie, but now we're
We
actually
even have
seeing
Johnny
it. I think that
Reedy.
stuff's
We're
great.
going to everyone.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, we could put Maroni in the Batman 2. Like, that would be awesome. Or he could die in the show. I don't know.
So it does make me wonder.
I had that thought too, because you could do that with Harvey. Maroni, I feel like because of Long Halloween and stuff like that, people think of Maroni as being like of that era, but like Maroni goes all the way back to Harvey Dent's Two-Face's origin. So like we could do something with that. But I also feel like this show might be the classic comic book thing we always talk about, where it's like you have the gangster period at the beginning, and then it like transitions into villains. And I feel like this might be like the clean slate of like the mobsters, and then you have Penguin take over, and it's his gang instead.
I was actually just about. It's funny you said that because I was actually just about to ask. Does it feel like to anyone else that this could be like the end of the mob in Gotham, and we're ushering in the villains, the super villains, and Penguin is going to be the one that kind of ushers that era in?
Yeah, because a part of their take is that he doesn't like the Penguin nickname. It's something said very derogatorily. He refers to himself as Oz because he thinks Oz is cool. Like he introduces himself to Batman and other characters as Oz because he thinks that sound cooler. I'm guessing that by the end of this show, he's owning it. Like, no, I'm the Penguin. and starts just going with the theatrical aspect. And like you said, the mob era could be ending, and we could be seeing more costume masked freaks, which I think would be great.
I think
Like,
that would be
I
a
think
cool
that is
way to
great.
kind of separate this show. Because obviously, we've seen some reviews that are reviewing this seemingly only focused on comparing it to other mob stories
Yeah.
for some reason.
It's really weird. It's like, oh, this show is good at being a crime show, but I'm sick of crime shows, so blah. Like, it is what it is.
But it could be interesting if this is a crime show about the end of the traditional crime family in Gotham. And by the end of the show, we've got a supervillain or two. It doesn't have to be anyone big, but introducing that, like, no, something has changed. Batman and Penguin have started something, and I think it's really cool to have the Penguin be. And I think it's really cool to have Penguin kind of be the one that ushers in that new era of crime in Gotham.
Well, we've also already had Sophia referred to as the Hangman. I mean, she could also own up to that name at the end of the show, you know, and they could make a big thing out of that.
I'm gonna make a wild prediction. Sorry, go ahead, Noah. You go first.
Well, there's just something I just thought about. You do see a few Riddler followers in this episode, so you know Riddler definitely still has a huge influence in that. So it's not just Oz ushering in the new wave of like supervillains. Riddler's still playing a big role into that too.
When that QR code scans into a Riddler chat room of them talking about breaking him out.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder if they get him for this season.
I think he'll be a crazy guest star.
I think we're gonna see him in one of the movies again.
I heard someone theorize that maybe the second one will be like a loose adaptation of like War of Jokes and Riddles, and I could see doing something like that.
It would just be crazy if they kept that under wraps. You know, if Paul Dano pops up in the show.
Oh, 100%. Everyone is too distracted about whether Pattinson will be in this show.
It's
I'm gonna make sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I'll let you talk in a second. I've seen it's just strange because I've seen a lot of reviews that are like, "Oh, where's Batman?" I'm like, it's a spinoff. Like, come on, guys.
He's busy with Batman shit.
Yeah.
No, I like that there's this whole thing going on that he can't possibly keep his eyes on, especially in the aftermath of the Riddler events. Like, we didn't just forget that, you know, half the city flooded.
All of like half the city flooded. I think he's busier than like mob bureaucracy.
Exactly.
And it's also important to note that we have 3 actors that have not, their roles have not been announced. Francois
so one of them
Chow.
could be Batman, we're saying.
Yes. Francois Chow. I don't know how you say that. Craig Walker and Jared Abrahamson. I wonder if maybe one of them could be like a supervillain tease.
Well, and there's also a Carlo in the cast list, so like.
That's true, yeah. But that's not Clayface. That's someone else. Could be related.
Yeah,
to Clayface.
but could be related. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. Unless they do a gender swap. But I was thinking someone related.
Oh, no.
Maybe.
They're not gonna do this. But how insane would it be if she transformed into Clayface after an episode of banging Oz? He was like, oh no.
They're banging and she's like the sludge monster.
That has to be on purpose though, right?
And he's like, what are you doing?
What are you showing me? Come on.
Come on.
Yeah, because it's like Oz's, like, I guess you could say on again, off again girlfriend or whatever.
She's Carlo.
Yeah, that's what it is. So that's such a specific last name. Like, Matt Reeves wouldn't. I don't think he'd let that slide because he's someone to be like, wait, no, that's weird. Why would I don't know.
Yeah, that has to be intentional in some way.
Something.
No, it would be really cool if we got to see him like kind of take some of these fledgling superheroes or supervillains and like they work for the Penguin, like he is as he becomes like the main power in Gotham.
I was thinking about that during that scene. I was like, we missed the opportunity to put Catwoman here, like the year one. Maybe they're like, oh, we can't put Catwoman here. What other villains can we put in as a prostitute? I just saw Clayface in there.
Yes.
Clayface would probably make a good prostitute. Let's be honest.
He's studying for the role.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. But I'm going to make a big, bold prediction that the end of the show will be all the gangsters together, and then Penguin will arrive and kill them in his big duckmobile.
Yes.
And that'll be
That'd
like
be
the big
amazing.
transition.
I would love to see the.
It would be cool if he rocked
And
up with
then-
like an umbrella gun or some kind of gadget.
And then the end of the show, it'll end. It'll cut to black like mid scene, but it'll be he kills all the gangsters and he's standing there, and then like the overhead glass breaks, and then Batman comes in and goes, "What's up, Duck?" And then it cuts to black, and then the Batman 2 opens with that scene. You see it from
Yes.
Batman's perspective, and then he lands in.
That's awesome.
I thought you were gonna say the final shot would be him turning on the penguin signal and putting the penguin signal light into the sky.
He shines it over Batman's symbol.
It's war now.
And then you see Batman, he's like, "Hey, what are you showing me here?"
So the last thing I really have to talk about is just the show is I've got two things that I want to bring up. First is just how funny Colin Farrell can be in this, but not like Penguin's not the butt of the joke. It's just it's humorous. I was talking to Austin about it as I was watching the pilot. And I really cracked him at his rant about the pickles on his burger.
That's how you know him and Victor are like bonded for life. You can't go through that sort of pickle scenario without being pals for life.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to eat your pickles.
But what made me laugh is that the second he said it, all I could hear in my head was, "I wanted more wine." But then I immediately was like, you know what? No, I agree because I've been there. And fuck people that put a one with extra. Fuck you.
Yeah, exactly.
Another thing that's oh sorry. Okay, yeah. Another thing that's set up and paid off great is the thing with the ring, with Falcone's
Yes.
ring that got passed on to
Mhm.
Alberto. That
Yeah.
and when Penguin takes it, I was like, no, don't do that. Oh, this is gonna bite you in the ass. This is gonna be a problem. But then when he gives it to Maroni, and then at the end he frames Alberto's death as being Baroni's plan. It's like, oh, okay, it was really clever. It was really clever. Which again,
Yeah.
I could see Sophia killing or getting Maroni killed. I don't know if he survives the show. It'd
Okay,
make me
so
sad,
let me
but
ask
it's
you this
awesome.
real quick, because obviously we know that's just like it's right. They had that in mind writing, but in universe, did he plan that far ahead, or did he just get really lucky?
I was gonna
I think he got
ask
lucky.
about the end, like his plan at the end, because he obviously wasn't planning to get kidnapped by Sophia and interrogated. So I'm just wondering
I
when
think-
Victor was supposed to come in with the car. And
Oh, because I was
where,
gonna say I think he did because he had that plan with Victor to have him pull the car in.
That's
Well,
true.
that's what I was saying. Like, it's a master manipulator thing where the main character is that, but you're also seeing them like struggle to put the pieces together too. Like, that's part of what's interesting about it.
I'd have to
And it's
rewatch it.
hard to tell.
Because I
Yeah.
remember when he first sees Sophia, he looks like, oh shit, like like they're gonna get me, and then they have that whole chase scene. So I don't know.
Yeah, my read on it, and I could change this on another viewing. It's, I think he always has the plan in mind with the body in the car. He just doesn't know when or who. But I
Mhm.
think that is in the back of his head. I think when he first takes the ring, it's just as a trophy, as just like an insult, as like a sign of power. But then when Sophia comes into play, I think is when the plan starts to come together in his head. Like when he goes to see Maroni, I didn't have this when I was watching it, but now I'm convinced. Like, oh, he knows that Maroni's going to turn him down. Like that whole plan is, I think, in motion before
That
him
is
and
just
Maroni
so
even
he
start
can
talking.
get
Oh yeah,
the ring.
he's just there for that. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah, so he has that all planned out by that point. for sure.
Mhm.
And then the other thing is, he's the enemy of the Maroney family too. Like, because Maroney
Mhm.
is definitely gonna know who framed Blake. So I'm interested
Yeah,
to see that
and,
play
and then
out.
it's his word against Oz's, and which one does Sophia believe?
Right. Yeah.
That's gonna be great.
Oh yeah. Also, the last big thing I have with the show is that it follows the movies thing, where it gives you just a song that is just everything the character is going
Yeah.
through right now, except it's way better because it's a way better song.
It's not a better song.
It's a way better
Yeah,
song.
I don't
I'm not
agree.
gonna for that debate.
Well,
But
that was
but-
another thing I wondered about, though, was like how much music are we gonna get? Because we get very little in the Batman. It's really just that song from Nirvana. So I was interested in like what the song choices would be. We get a couple, but that's like the main one. Like, oh, this is his song for this episode. That's really funny.
Yeah,
That's
so,
awesome.
So, Matt Reeves is Robert Pattinson.
Matt
Matt
Robert
Reeves
Pattinson.
is-
He just owns Robert Pattinson now.
Yeah, yes, he does.
I
Yeah.
mean, basically, yeah.
Matt Reeves' Bruce Wayne is based on Kurt Cobain. We know this, so we know that his Penguin is based on Dolly Parton.
Yep,
So
Yep.
they're the same person.
So the
They
last
both
thing,
have giant boobs.
I was gonna say it. Damn it.
Just one of them's a lot hairier.
Yeah, we haven't talked about the nude scene yet.
Where he's like Sean Connery levels of hairy.
Austin, I thought you were gonna talk about the penguin penis we were deprived.
Oh
of.
yeah, well I really thought we were about to see it in that scene because Colin Farrell mentioned that the bodysuit they put him in has one, and I was like, wait a minute, wait a minute, no. But I'm still convinced that we will see it at some point because why else would they have put that there?
the last thing I want to bring up is we meet Penguin's mom in this episode. She's also really funny.
You
Where's-
sound like a little pussy boy.
She starts yelling at Victor, like, "What's this black kid doing in my house?"
But I also love that Penguin doesn't explain it. He just walks in and there's just a guy standing.
He's just sitting there.
He doesn't come in and he's like, yeah, I brought my friend with me, ma.
No, what I love is that his whole like motivation to take over Gotham is now because his mom called him a pussy for wanting to leave.
Mm.
Well, she was like, you're not a pussy, you're my bull.
She's like, you killed him
Yeah.
because you wanted to. It was instinctual.
That's another thing I think Gotham did was that Penguin also had mommy issues, but this is played very
Oh
differently.
yeah, true. Yeah.
When penguins lay eggs, it makes sense.
That Penguin has had like family issues because that's how we excuse bringing in what's his name, like the Penguin's
Paul
dad.
Rubens.
Yeah.
Paul Rubens. Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah. His dad's
Huey.
a-
Thank you, Austin.
Do you
I couldn't
think we'll
of his name.
get? Do you think we'll get CGI Paul Rubens
Oh
by the end
no!
of this?
No.
I'm your dad, Penguin.
It's Paul Rubens as mocapped by Andy Serkis.
No, what would be cool, even though I don't like that movie, is if they found a way to get DeVito in for this. That would be cool.
That'd be cool.
Oh,
That'd be a fun cameo.
I would just love that you have Penguin, who's like 40 something, his mom, who's like 60 something, and then his dad, who's like 104, and a literal troll creature. That'd be awesome.
Robert, Noah, is there anything else that you feel we haven't covered? Anything else you want to talk about?
I think it's a good looking show so far. Like, it's obviously a step down visually from the movie, but it looks like a good looking TV show. Some people have
And it
filmed
was
the
always
trailers
going
like,
to
oh,
be.
yeah, some people are like, oh, this looks really cheap, and I'm like, I think it looks fine. Like, it looks like it's in the world. Obviously, the cinematography is not as good, but it looks good enough.
Well, that's why I'm pretty sure that. Yeah, that's why I'm pretty sure that opening shot is the shot from the movie because I do think the quality shifts a little bit after that shot, but not in like a oh my god, look how cheap this looks now.
Can we stop
also
expecting
just
TV
like,
to look like
TV
film?
show.
Like that's just not going to happen.
Yeah, they rarely
Yeah.
pull it off. And a lot of this is in the daytime, which like doesn't exist in the the Batman movie.
Yeah.
So it's always sunrise or sunset, and here we get a lot of daytime scenes. So that's
We
kind
get a
of
lot
sharp
of
contrast.
Colin Farrell in the fat suit in daytime, and it still looks really good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, it's still great.
He's got a nasty ass foot. We didn't get. I'm
Yeah,
glad we
oh,
didn't see
yeah.
that in the movie.
Yeah. We
I
didn't
forgot-
talk about his foot.
Yeah, I forgot he walked with a limp in that, but I think he does.
He does, yeah.
Well, I
Look,
think
that's
about it,
why they
'cause
call
he's-
him Penguin.
You don't see him walk that much in that movie. I think there's like a few seconds of him walking, but for the
Mhm.
most part, he's like either just standing or sitting.
That's the main reason why I'm like, yeah, I don't know if we get a second season or wasn't expecting one, because Colin Farrell recently has talked about what a nightmare it is to film in that makeup and that suit, and how he was sick of it by the end, which is like fair enough. So I just don't know if you can get him to sign on to a second season.
Well, no, the Batman 2 will open with he was on the Subway diet, and he comes back and he's...
Robert, what you're not quoting from that very same interview is that he would come back for a season 2 if they asked him.
Okay, I'm just saying I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Because it is a nightmare to film.
I think everyone would agree it was probably a nightmare to film in that
Yeah.
thing.
No,
Especially since
it's
this
just
was, like,
insane.
shut down for a bit. You know,
Like what a
The big
transformation
change
it
is they
is.
won't add a penis next time, so it'll be a little faster to put on.
Anyway, does anybody else have anything else they want to talk about?
No, I think we covered pretty much most of it. But if anyone has like predictions for the rest of this series, or just things they're looking forward to, I'm really looking forward to seeing the flashbacks in Arkham with Sophia, which was teased in like the weeks to come trailer.
yeah, we still don't even know what she did. I assume she hanged somebody.
Yeah. Well, she is called the Hangman, so
Yeah,
yeah.
I heard on Max for you guys had like a trailer at the end of it. Mine didn't.
Yeah.
Just on
You
Crave.
can
Okay.
find it on YouTube if you want to watch it.
For sure.
They
Oh,
do
okay.
have it's called like the weeks ahead, so it's just a bunch of footage for upcoming episodes.
Oh, okay. Right on.
That's a thing HBO does. That's the other weird thing too. Is I've seen a lot of recent HBO shows like House of the Dragon, stuff like that. There's a formula, or Last of Us, where there's definitely a structure to how they do ads and previews and like the after show special where there's like 5 to 10 minutes of interviews. So just seeing that with the Penguin was just so jarring. Getting that for a DC show, where I'm like, oh right, like this is an HBO show. This is weird.
Yeah,
it's cool.
That
I
must
like
have
finding
shifted at
stuff.
some point because I don't think that was originally an HBO show.
No,
was
it did
announced
shift
as-
from Max to HBO proper
Mm.
at some point.
So with that, I'm also just excited to see more of Arkham, just because I know that we're not getting that Arkham show anymore, and I would just like to see more of that in this show.
Well, isn't the Arkham show the one that like it's still happening? It's just shifted to the like Gunverse instead.
Well, and it's canceled now.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it's
I
canceled.
can't keep track. They announced like 600 things.
Well, because I feel like it was Arkham and then it was GC. Oh no, it was GCPD.
It was GCPD and then it was Arkham.
Then it
And
was
then it was
Arkham.
Arkham.
And then
That's
it
right,
shifted
okay.
to
And then it
the
went
James
on.
Gunverse. And then it
And then
got
I'm pretty sure
hits.
they started. Well, because I'm pretty sure they started doing it in the gun stuff, and then went, wait a minute, we have no idea what our Batman's gonna look like because we're not far enough ahead with that movie. Maybe let's ease up a little.
Yeah.
You should have left it in the
make it-
Gunverse or in
It
the
was-
Reeveverse.
It was the
The
first
Reeves,
time. It was the first time that Reeves was moving fast, and they're like, "Whoa, whoa!"
Whoa, take it easy, sweetheart.
Fucking slowpoke Rodriguez on the scripting stage.
I just want to know who the villain is.
It's gonna be the
2.5 years.
Penguin.
That's too much of
Yeah.
a spoiler.
No, but
What
I think just my favorite thing about this is just the Penguin and like what a transformation it is. Because at no point am I thinking, "Yep, that's Colin Farrell."
No, he's still so
Yeah,
good, and
he disappears in the role, not
Mm.
just because of the makeup, but his performance as well. It's really good.
The voice is great.
Yeah, his
And,
accent never slips that I caught.
Well, it's one of those actors where when you see him in enough stuff, it's like, oh, I can hear Colin Farrell in this now in a way I couldn't, initially. But it's still good. It's still consistent. It's
I
just,
guess I
I'm
haven't
just
seen him
very
in enough
familiar with his
things.
voice.
What same with like if you're familiar with Colin Farrell, like you can tell that it's his eyes.
Mhm.
Like the rest of it's uh, prosthetics, but like you can tell that that's like right all here is Colin Farrell.
And back to the predictions, and like I said, Sophia is also great. I mean, she's totally a standout. She's wonderful. And back to predictions, I how I see this thing panning out is him and Sophia are probably going to work together for a bit, but then I think she will be the main big bad of the end of the season. Might not survive. I could see Sal Maroni dying, which would make me very sad because Clancy Brown's great. But now to pose this as a question, what do you guys think the end game for Victor is? It's his little Jesse Pinkman. Like, where do you think that character is by the end of the season?
I think it's too soon for me to tell because I can't tell whether or not he's into this lifestyle or not yet. But I could see him being like the Penguin's right hand man.
I think in the climax of the show, Sophia will be trying to hang him, and Penguin will come in and save him and be like, "That's my guy. I'm gonna save him," and he'll shoot the noose, but he'll end up falling into a bunch of liquid nitrogen, and there's just no way to save him.
You're just really stuck on that. Or okay,
His
so
name is Victor. He's obviously Mr. Freeze.
so
And he
Well, 'cause
had
they're
a
not
different
gonna-
last name because they thought Freeze was too silly. They changed it.
Exactly. If they're gonna change
Fries.
Cobblepot, they're going to change Fry's last name.
So the other thing that I could see happening, because I guess I'm on both ends of the spectrum with what happens to that character, is that Penguin does end up betraying him to get that to the ultimate power, and it's all the morally like ambiguous or just outright evil stuff that Penguin had to do cost him people that he did end up caring about.
Well, you even get a little bit of that in this episode when Sophia has that other kid tied up, and she's like, "Do you know him?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, I don't know that guy." Like, he does not care when that kid gets shot in the face.
But I mean,
we
like
get his self-preservation.
that's self-preservation, but I think it would be different with Victor because he's formed a bond with him. And I'm not saying he would get Victor killed. I'm saying he would be the one to kill him for whatever the contrived reason is. But at the end of the day, like he has to kill him to move into that next step.
I mean, that could happen. I don't think you're wrong, but I could also see Victor dying and it being really tragic, where it is his put kind of more Penguin's push to villainy, or like if Sophia kills him or gets him.
I was gonna say, I feel like Sophia or Penguin are the two most likely people to kill him.
Yeah, it could be real tragic.
Or
Noah.
he fakes his death and changes his name to Jason Todd.
Or he gets
Victor
shot.
Fries.
Exactly, he gets shot and it makes him cold because he's dead.
God damn it. Noah,
And then
final
he's
thought.
like, yeah.
Noah, final thoughts and any predictions that you want to share.
I echo the prediction that Penguin's going to have an uneasy kind of alliance with Sophia, and then by the end, she's probably going to be the main villain. With Victor, I don't really know at this point, because we don't get a whole lot of him. Just we don't get a whole peek into his head in this episode. We do a little bit, but I feel like I need a little bit more. It does feel like he knows that he's being kidnapped basically. So I can see him maybe trying to find a way out later. But it does seem by the end of the episode that he's fine being his confidant. So I could see him being the right hand man, to the end. I could see him betraying Penguin. Even I could see it either or. Like Penguin could betray him, or he could get one up and betray Penguin
He
by
could
the
kill
end.
Penguin's mama. I feel like she's gonna die.
Probably.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah,
She
if
will-
Sophia gets
She
her-
will be hanged by Sophia Falcone, right?
Mm.
Yeah. I could also see Maroney dying, but again, I wouldn't really want that because it's Clancy Brown. He's awesome.
Oh, so if since we're doing the Hangman, do you guys think it will just be she was a serial killer that hanged people, or do you think they will go all the way with it, where she has like the Hangman clue thing, and we'll do some of that?
I think
I
we could
hope.
get there. I'm guessing it was probably just like a solo murder that got her in Arkham. Like I don't think she was a serial killer before going to Arkham. I could be wrong, but I
I
think
feel
the
like
Hangman gimmick is somewhere we could get later in the
I
season.
feel like in order to have a name like that,
She would
it
have
probably has to
to.
be more than one.
Be a
Yeah,
serial
maybe.
killer, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I kind of hope they go far with that and have her like leave all the clues and stuff because they did the Riddler and the Batman and they're used to doing villains like that. So
It would be a little funny if the only supervillains that the city has seen so far are people that leave puzzles.
yeah,
Well, I want to see he like walks in and his mom's hanging, and there's a little hangman puzzle of where to meet her, and he's like, what is
What are you,
this?
what are you showing me?
Yeah.
Another scene I loved that made me laugh out loud was when we get the car chase and then he pulls over somewhere and hides in the trunk so that they think he ran away.
he
And
hides
gets
in the
out.
trunk, and then the guy that he fights gets hit by a bus,
That made me gasp. That was awesome.
and he waves to the kids.
The only thing that made me sad in that scene was when he was getting attacked in his car. I thought he was gonna grab his trusty umbrella and then stab the guy, which is the thing I really want to happen in the show. Like, I don't need the trick umbrellas, but when the show is announced, I'm like, please just give me one scene where he stabs a guy to death with an umbrella. That's all I want.
That'll be how he kills Sophia.
I hope that would be amazing.
The first
I
scene
really
you
want the
see
trick
him-
umbrella.
The first scene you see him in the show, he does have an umbrella.
He's got an umbrella quite a bit.
I clapped when I saw the umbrella. I was like, that's a thing I know.
That's the thing that took me by surprise, and it should have. Where I'm like, oh right, the iceberg lounge is like destroyed because it would be.
It would
Like,
be.
oh,
I also like that the show establishes that the rich brands that got them are fine. I assume we'll do more with like a class thing with that, but I thought that was really funny.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I don't really have any other predictions other than the ones that I've shared. My final thoughts are just this is a wonderful show. This is not my genre, but I like the comic booky stuff, so I'm gonna stick with it. And we'll review it episode by episode. Austin, it was a pleasure. Robert, Noah, as always, great to have you on. And we'll see you next episode.